Joy is not lost, but is kept with perseverance. Not just delights and pleasure, but with grit and triumph. I've been given trials and tribulations. I've been given trauma and distaste. But most importantly, I've been given power to overcome.
I'm sure you've got some folks here in the audience supporting you. If you want to shout them out, show them some love.
Yes, my mother, who is an amazing Black woman and has supported me all the way. My grandmother, the president of the city council.
Which is right down there.
When you tell stories, that speaks to the right side of the brain. That's the creative part. That's the empathetic part. That's the part of the brain that connects with people. I think the power in storytelling is that we connect with people's hearts. I've learned over the years that nobody changes until their heart changes. You can give them all the information. You can give them all the justifications, but until their heart gets it, till it hits here, doesn't really matter. And so stories go there.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming to our 4th annual Black Voices Symposium. Our students have been working hard over the last several months. I've been directly involved for the last 3 years by giving the theme and working with students via workshop and having events in the community. Our theme this year is very appropriate as we look about us in our country and see what's happening. It's called Powered by Courage. So our young people's voice is important. This is easily my favorite event of the year because I really believe in amplifying the voice of our youth because they will be here when we're not. So without further ado, and I'm also the editor of the Black Lens. Thank you. I count it an honor to be able to walk in the shoes of Miss Sandy Williams. It means a lot to me to carry her vision. I'm also an educator in the public school system and the NAACP Education Committee Chair. In all that I do, I want to represent us as a community, and I also want to empower our young people and give them the voice that we all know they have. Without further ado, Jenny Musa Simbili is 22 years old. She is at Spokane Community College. She wants to be an EKG tech. She aspires to work in psychology, and she will kick us off and set the tone to talk about courage. Jenny?
Strength in the face of pain or grief, the ability to do something that frightens one. I believe we all have our meaning of the word, courage. Even more so, we all have different ways of acting on it. When you stand up to the bully or when you stop running from the dog and pet it. But so many times, courage goes unnoticed, under the radar, if I may. Courage is being here in every sense of it. Courage is going to bed at night, worried, teary, weak, bleak, talking to God in despair, but waking up and going through your day so graciously you become an angel among humans. But so many times we fail to notice this. So when night comes, you find yourself exactly where you were the night before. Courage is fighting a losing war, the war from within, when everything in you says no and you still do it. When you only have 40% to give and you give that 40%. That is courage. Being present when there is nothing for you and yet you show up. I have never known courage by its name, but lately I have learned to appreciate it in all of its forms. Whether it's when you stand in front of people and tell your story, or wake up in the morning and leave when you don't want to. It's smiling when all you want to do is cry. It's crying and never stopping. Courage is being able to own up to your mistakes and errors. It's taking accountability. And when you least believe it and still do it, that is when you're being courageous. Thank you.
To start us off, we will talk to Emmanuel Eberhardt. He is a freshman at Rogers High School. He is the youngest sibling of his family. He enjoys football and spends his time making beats on the computer. He likes to write and hopes to pursue a career in the medical field. When he was in elementary school, he lived in Germany for 3 years. Emmanuel Eberhardt. Emmanuel drew or created a picture that says, having faith is courage. Sometimes it takes courage to believe in what you cannot see. And he's going to talk about what faith means to him and how courage comes through faith.
So you want me to start?
Yep. I want you to start.
All right, so what courage means to me is standing up for what's right and standing up for what you believe in. Courage is like, I'm sorry, my bad, y'all.
Take your time.
What courage means to me is standing up for what's right and what you believe in. To me, courage is going the other direction when the crowd is going only one way. An example of courage is being a Christian. As a Christian, you don't fit in with this world, but you are in this world. Sometimes you have to be bold and stand right in front of adversity and persecution and have faith to rely on the strength and my bad, y'all. You just have to have faith and you have to rely on the Lord for strength to endure through hard times. Courage to me is like having faith in the Lord, being able to trust in Him, even though I can't see Him. I still feel His presence when I pray in times of crisis and in times of triumph.
Thank you. Emmanuel, how hard is it to navigate when you can't see it, and how do you develop the courage when you can't see something, whether it's a grade or whether it's a friendship or whether it's something having to do with school? How do you find it? You said you have faith in God and you stand. Can you think of a time?
If my grades are not like what I need them to be, or I'm like tripping out about like assignments, then I usually like pray about it, because sometimes I look at situations and I'm like, how am I gonna make it through? So I pray about it.
Okay. Who represents courage in your life?
My family, the Lord, and I save myself in situations.
You encourage yourself sometimes?
I try to.
Very good. Okay, good job. Thank you. Next, I will ask Miss Makia Tomeo, pronouns she, her, to come out to the stage, a junior at Rogers High School. Hi, Makia.
Hi, April.
Makia is the treasurer for the Black Student Union and loves running and listening to music. She also enjoys hanging out with family and friends and going to church. At school, she loves business class because it helps her learn more about how to become her own boss. One day she wants to become a boss and have a lot of businesses. Makia is going to read a portion of her essay.
Okay.
It was titled simply Courage.
Okay. Courage to me means being proud about who you are and loving yourself for who you are, as well as being brave and bold, sticking up for yourself when needed. Having courage is being brave to open new doors in life and try new things, and being confident in knowing who you are and what you are doing and how to act. Having courage is being a leader, not a follower. The definition of courage is the ability to face fear, danger, or uncertainty, and to make good choices despite those challenges. I had courage when I moved to Rogers to have a better school experience and be around people who will respect and appreciate me for who I am. And now I am around more of my people, and it made me feel more at home and comfortable to be myself. And now I surround myself with people who love and help push me to become a better person. I am so thankful I got a chance to move and meet more people that I get to learn and grow with.
Thank you, Makia. So, Makia, there's a saying that goes, sometimes just showing up is a revolutionary act. And when you are around adversity and difficulty, sometimes it's our instinct to act. How do you describe just showing up being courageous in situations?
Like being yourself and also using your voice, not only for yourself, but for your people, and also respecting everyone.
And thank you, good answer. Who represents courage in Makia's life? Who do you see courage?
I see
from?
like my family, my teacher, Miss Stacy, and Pastor Shaw, and yeah.
Yes. One more question. You mentioned being in a good community to help you with feeling like you belong. And what does community have to do with having courage? How does that impact courage for others who might not have it, a strong community?
Courage,
like Miss Jamie and Pastor Sean, how did that help you with your courage level?
having people be there for you and pushing you and like helping you like try new things you've never done before.
Okay, thank you. Makia, everybody. Rogers High School, good job. Next to the stage is Miss Nikita Habimana. She is a junior at Shadle Park High School. She is from South Africa, and she is passionate about equity, justice, and equal opportunity for all. Nikita wrote a poem simply titled Courage. She's going to read a portion of it, and we'll talk about it when she's done.
Courage is not just a word. It is a statement. Courage is a lifestyle. She calls to me on days when eyes are many and friends are few, when adversity overcomes and oppression reigns. I hear her whispers and dwell within her sweet, sweet embrace. I recommend you pay heed her callings. She tells me to bloom in a world overridden of thorns of racism, hatred, and war, to sow seeds of love, seeds of peace, and seeds of joy. Shine, black child, shine. Your smile's as bright as diamonds, skin's pure as gold, eyes clear as the night sky with a soul nobody can control. Wear your fro loud, puffy, and picked out. Keep your cornrows tight, fresh, and follow the patterns to freedom. And never forget that you come from greatness, great warriors, politicians, kings, and queens. So when the world forsakes you, which it will, when it casts thorns of doubt and sows seeds of hatred, wear your smile proudly. Keep your head up high, raise your fist in the air, and show them they can't kill your vibe. Courage. She's the reason I smile. Thank you.
Good job. So, Nikita, You mentioned a vibe. Is courage contagious?
Yes, it is. Courage is, in fact, contagious.
Can you talk more about how courage can be contagious?
Courage is contagious because before I wasn't really a courageous person. I'd say whenever I had a problem with something, I'd keep it to myself and I wouldn't really speak up or say anything. But just being around my friends and people who are courageous, it's inspired me to be courageous and just stand up for myself and for others. So it is, in fact, contagious. Sorry.
Good job. And whenever you see one who is not courageous, as you mentioned, you weren't always, how do you see yourself in that process? When you see someone who might not be as brave or who's still finding their way?
It just reminds me of why we need to be courageous, because when you're keeping quiet about things, it doesn't solve anything. But speaking up helps not only yourself, but those around you.
Good job. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Contagious courage. Contagious courage. Mwajuma Ishabalika is a senior at Lewis and Clark High School, where she serves as a drill captain and multicultural BSU leader. She is proud of her Congolese heritage, having been born in Tanzania. Passionate about learning, especially when it comes to exploring other cultures. Welcome. She is going to read a portion of The Ripple Effects of Courage, Voicing and Leading.
Thank you. Courage is not just about showing up physically. It's about engaging, contributing, and stepping outside your comfort zone. I learned this during my time in class, where I often attended but refrained from input. I remained silent and did not contribute to the conversation. My fear was not solely rooted in my childhood shyness, but the overwhelming sense of imposter syndrome, by reason of being almost always the only person of color, let alone Black person. My classes, almost always being the person of color, let alone Black person. Constantly questioning if I was qualified enough to be in the classes, even though I deserved to be there as much as anyone else. This self-doubt seeped into my academic performance, clouding my confidence. Once I took the step, I not only opened doors for myself, but also inspired people of the same background, encouraging them to customize their own paths and break down barriers. This courage has sparked a ripple effect of courage and empowerment, inspiring those of similar backgrounds to push themselves in joining honor classes, taking leadership roles, and experimenting with different activities. Courage is about being an example of fearlessness and change for those who are underrepresented, demonstrating that you can show up, speak up, and make a meaningful impact. Courage is about remaining true to yourself and not dimming your light in efforts of being scared to shine. We often fear making mistakes and sounding stupid, but this is precisely what the learning process is about, learning and growing. Remember, courage is transformable, courage is transformative, and most importantly, courage is revolutionary.
Good job.
Thank you.
I love the word revolution. Revolutionary. Mwajuma, you talk about fear in your essay. Mm-hmm. If you had to tell fear something right now, what would you say?
You don't scare me anymore.
Good job, yes. And what does the other side of fear look like to you? How does it feel inside when you've overcome something? You talked about imposter syndrome and not feeling like you belong. How often do you feel that way?
I would say fear, on the other side, it feels very suffocating. It feels very limiting. But then I have dealt in ways of finding people of my same background, people that encourage me, and dealing with imposter syndrome. I just look outside of barriers and look within people such as Ms. Carpenter, who is one of my advisors for the Multicultural Club in BSU, who is one of the pillar for representation and has very much encouraged me and others, and that has diminished the feeling of imposter syndrome.
Good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
So when I was going through the submissions and I got to Heaven Williams' picture, I just stopped and looked at it for a good 10 minutes because it was very, very deep. And so Heaven is going to talk about this very beautiful, symbolic, rich with message and history, this picture. I will introduce Heaven. She is a senior at Ferris High School. She says this picture depicts a young Black woman undergoing surgery. It shows her passed out, but it also shows her chest cavity cut open from open wounds passed on throughout history. It shows her being sewn up with a pocket watch. A pocket watch represents time, and the fact that she's being sewn up with it represents society trying to heal her history with time itself. Her mouth is also sewn shut because it represents society trying to silence her, making it so that she's never able to speak about Black history. The black and brown hands surrounding her represent her ancestors reaching out to her, trying to make her remember what was done to them and remember what she goes through every day living life as a Black woman. The colors surrounding everything represents aura. The surgical tools on the side are what was used on her. On the clock itself, it has the dates of when slavery started, ended, and today's current year, with the last space blank, showing we will always remember what happened to us, but will continue to move forward in life. Heaven. I think you have more themes than Kendrick Lamar's halftime show in this picture. And I love all of it, especially when we are seeing a move to erase Black history, women's history, and all things relating to culture. Talk about the importance of our history and talk about why we will not be silenced.
The importance of remembering our history is so that I feel when you're stopped by a person and you are questioned and asked of the things that you go through every day as a Black person or colored person in general, you will be able to speak and share about those lived experiences that not only you go through, but your ancestors, your family, your friends, anyone. I feel like it's really important to know our history, and it's really important for us to carry that on through our heritage and our families.
And the part about being silenced.
Mm-hmm. I feel like today as a Black woman, I personally have been silenced a lot. Like the painting that I have made for you today, it really was representing not only myself, but my peers as well, because we've all been silenced multiple times throughout our life. And I feel like it's such a questionable thing. Like, it's just so hard to explain that, like, sorry.
Take your time.
I just feel like,
talk to us.
With us being silenced, it's so hard to really talk about it and explain how you go through it, like feeling like you can't say what you want to say and feeling like you're being choked back to anything really. Like it's just a lot.
How can you represent courage by not being silenced in your daily walk every day, your journey every day?
I feel like I represent courage within myself and my community every day by taking up for those who can't speak for themselves and taking up for anyone who feels any type of way about any type of thing. I'm just the type of person to always stand for what is right, regardless of how it makes anyone feel.
Yes. Who is someone in your life, Heaven, that represents courage and inspires you to keep going?
My mom. Growing up with my mom, yeah.
Okay, Mom.
My mom is a single mother who raised 4 kids, and she's shown a lot of courage throughout her life because she's never stopped for us regardless of what we wanted or what we didn't want. She made sure we got it. Like, that's just the type of mom that I have.
All right, Mom. Good job, Mom. One more question, Heaven. For those who are being silenced, whether directly or indirectly, whether through microaggression or an outright slur, what do you have to say in the name of courage?
I have to say, well, I will say, stand up. I will say stand up for what you feel is right. Stand up for those who you feel are right and have been treated and portrayed as wrong. And I feel like, stand up.
That's right, stand.
Right.
Good job. Thank you, Heaven. Oh, wait, one more question. How long have you been doing art, and what do you want to do with your art in the future?
I've been doing art since before I can remember. I've always been the kid to have art posted up on the fridge or the walls. And with my art, I want to take it and put it into architecture. Because I know in the art business and industry, it's kind of hard to make money off of it fast. And so I feel like with putting it into architecture, it'll be a better and easy and more sustainable job for me in my future life.
Yes, thank you. No more questions, I promise. Michaela Dow is a mixed black girl that has lived in Spokane her whole life. Her dad is West African, and her mom is a white American. She lives with her mom and stepdad, also a white American, and sees her dad often. Due to distance and war, Michaela has yet to visit her dad's family, who all live in Mali. Michaela's going to read a portion of her essay or her poem titled Muted for Success.
People say I'm a good student, that I'm enough. Then why do I feel like I have to prove myself every time I step into a classroom or every time I step onto a softball field? Yeah, I'll be quiet, smart and funny, poised and pretty. I'll shape myself to fit these standards to get one step closer to success. Because if I'm me, I'm too disruptive, too social. I'm not proud of it, but success matters more than authenticity. So I'll wear a mask, pay myself to be perfect for society, hide myself so I can climb up this ladder, but sometimes I wonder why it even matters.
Wow. Good job. Thank you. Michaela, you talk about wearing a mask in your poem. A lot of times when we wear a mask, it's a coping mechanism. Can you talk about courage to cope and what that's like?
When you're coping, like in society, especially in communities that don't want Black women to be muted, we definitely have to wear a mask to get closer to success, and that's part of our rigged society that we have today. But the courage to cope with it is to dig deep down into who you really are and say, I see you, I feel you, and you are important even if society doesn't think you are.
Yes. You're talking about identity in this. And a lot of times when you are not of a social majority, you have to hold on to pieces of yourself and believe in you when no one else does. And it's a recurring theme that I'm hearing tonight. How can you tell others who feel muted for success? How can you tell them, what would you tell them about standing and being brave and being comfortable with who you are?
No matter how muted you feel, definitely take steps to go and show yourself more, even if people don't want to hear it. Miss Stacy has shown me I can be a leader, and I can be loud, and I can be proud. And I can also educate myself and be the perfect student that everybody wants me to be too.
Good job, yes. Thank you. Who's someone that in your life that represents courage, or your past, or a historical figure?
Definitely my mom and my dad. My mom was a single mom until I was like 2, but I have cerebral palsy and epilepsy, so she had to go to all the doctor's appointments, go to all the surgeries, and like do all the medication. And my dad, he grew up without a father figure, and his mom died when he was young, and he lived in a very poor community. And he has sacrificed so much for me to like be who I am today. So I'm very like happy, thankful for that.
Good job, thank you.
Thank you.
Michaela Dow, Rogers High School. Thank you. Jace Bauer is a senior at Shadle Park High School. He is heading to Grand Canyon University in the fall. He wants to become a chiropractor, and he has excelled in track and field, gymnastics, and football throughout his school journey. Jace is going to read a portion of his essay, Overcoming.
2 days into my freshman year, my best friend committed suicide. In processing her death, I began shutting people out. Consequently, I was not able to get the wisdom, advice, or support I needed to handle the grief I was feeling. I continued to push people away, and in return, they stopped asking me if I needed help, which left me feeling alone. Through all that, I became extremely depressed, and I started to stop showing interest in things I had once been excited about. Unfortunately, I stopped prioritizing schooling, and my mental health became a concern to my parents. This experience allowed me to find new perspectives about life, the main one being not to take life for granted, because life is too short to have doubts. I also realized that terrible things can happen to you. It does not matter how much money you make or how old you are. In my 10th grade year, I continued learning that death can be unexpected. When my 2 cousins died, one died due to medical complications and the other died to homicide. Both were in their 20s. With loss all around me, I realized that death did not have an age, and that made me feel like my time was coming. I continued to put school and sports that were important to me on the back burner. My mom was also grieving, which meant I didn't have the support I was used to.
Jace, thank you for being vulnerable in your essay. You're talking about mental health in your essay, and just a real struggle when you have death that happens back to back in your life. How would you describe the journey to have mind over matter when things around you are falling apart, and the mental pressure of trying to maintain, maybe not being able to? Can you talk about courage in that process?
I can. As a young kid or boy, girl, you feel like to be older, you have to do things by yourself. You feel like you have to take everything on your own because that's how you grow up. But I feel like the biggest courage is letting people in at your most vulnerable point to let them help you. A big thing for me is community and the village that people create as one. And that's just a big part of like who we are as people. You need people to keep striving and working together. You get more knowledge by having more people with you.
So basically, courage is not a solo sport.
No.
How has the lessons you described, just the journey, it wasn't instantaneous that you were able to get through it, but how did that prepare you for what might come later in life?
Make sure your family's with you. Don't take it alone. Don't take anything alone. Make sure that your friends are with you. Just make sure you have everybody, because everybody is better than no one.
That was good. You better preach. One more thing. If you see someone who's doing it alone, what can you share with our audience? What's one little small thing?
Talk to them. Don't even hold back. I went through an experience where I held back, and I wish I didn't. There's different ways. It's either a person that might be thinking of committing, talk to them, make sure that they know that they're loved, or it might be a person that went through someone that committed. Talk to them and show them that they're not alone either. Just make sure that they know that they always have someone with them, no matter what.
Thank you. Good answer. Yes. You see why it's important to activate the voices of our young people? They're teaching me something tonight. Marie-Therese Bengueya wrote a poem called The Definition of Courage. She is currently attending John R. Rogers High School. Marie-Therese was born in the DRC and later moved to the US. Her personal interests include serving her community, traveling, learning languages, and cooking. She is going to read an excerpt from her poem, The Definition of Courage.
What is courage? What does courage mean? The simple definition of courage is the ability to do something that frightens you. It is having strength in the face of pain and grief. Courage is so much more than this, though. Courage is waking up in the morning to face life, even when you don't feel like it. Courage is being vulnerable and choosing trust. Courage is continually stepping out of your comfort zone. Courage is taking heart in a world full of trials and tribulations. Courage is having a heart of compassion and love. Courage is expressing your whole being freely without fear of judgment. Courage is speaking your mind by telling your heart. Courage is not something you're born with. On the contrary, it is something you build through the journey of life. When I lack courage, I remember that the Lord my God is with me wherever I go.
Amen. Thank you. You talk about stepping out of your comfort zone. That's a huge part of growing up and becoming a young adult. Can you describe a time when you've had to step out of your comfort zone?
This is like right now is me stepping out of my comfort zone. Like, I would not do this. Like, I kind of have a fear of public speaking, but I am trying to overcome it this year. And this is an opportunity for doing that.
Yes. Well, we're glad you came.
I'm glad to.
Because sometimes just showing up is a revolutionary act.
That's right.
You talk about a world full of trials and tribulations, but then by the end of your poem, you talk about faith and remembering that God is with you.
Yeah.
We have trials and tribulations all throughout life. Given any point in history, how do we not buckle under the fear, under the worry, under the uncertainty, beyond what we can even control within our own grasp? How do we look at the hugeness and the enormity of what's happening and still have courage?
I feel like there's no way to do that because by ourselves, with our own strength, we're not strong enough to do it. So we each have our own different ways of coping, and kind of mine is religion, and I know that it may be for some of you guys. Life is uncertain, and I really just lean on my God for help and strength when I face it.
Yes, thank you. Who is someone? She's like, I didn't want to do this. Who is someone that shows you courage in your life?
My mom,
Your
definitely.
Mom. Yeah?
Yeah.
Is she here tonight?
She's not here, unfortunately. She has work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Marie-Therese. That was John R. Rogers High School. Daniela Musa Sambili wrote a poem titled Defining Yourself.
Lineup change. Time out.
Okay.
We don't have Daniela.
Okay.
We'll find her.
Okay.
Tim Thomas.
Okay. Switch. Jatem Thomas is the BSU president at Ferris High School. She has a poem that is titled Angry Black Girl. And Jatem is going to talk about that very passionately. She's going to read a portion of her essay.
Hello. Angry black girl. I'm a straight hurl. The things that are put on the backs of little black girls. They're too grown for this. They have too much attitude for that. Can we just sit back and observe how these girls are kicked to the curb, separated and ignored, constantly made a joke? I wish someone sooner would have spoke up for me, spoke up for we, and spoke up for us as a community. But they disregarded and discarded us when they were done with the devilish acts they brought upon we. I hope they start to care about us and our kinky hair, maybe even let us feel safe over here. Can we move on up to the level of our white peers, their white fears of us and the way we talk, the way we lead and the way we walk? Can we live in peace? Can we have justice? I sincerely doubt it, for they only see us as angry black girls, not as teachers or judges or doctors or lawyers. No, we're loud and ghetto. These words, they echo through the minds of all little black girls. That's what they call us. That's how they see us. But when will they really see us? When will they see the liberty and justice we need? We feed our minds and souls to someday conquer the roles that demean us. If we rise and stand hand in hand and truly stand for what we say, everything might be okay. Okay enough for us to survive past the age of 25. Okay for us to be ourselves without fear that we'll die. That's courage to me, and it should be an example of courage to our entire community.
Yes. Jatem, what brought this poem on? You had something to say.
Yes, ma'am, I had something to say. This poem was honestly inspired by my wonderful peers, my wonderful mentors that have helped me and encouraged me and pushed me. It's inspired by the people who inspire me.
Yes. You talk about the adultification, and this comes from the Spokesman-Review article that went out yesterday, the adultification of black girls in a society that doesn't see them as girls. Mm-hmm. What does that mean to you? Where do you see that?
What that means to me is, what I mean by that is black girls and black kids in general, I want to say, aren't seen as kids as we should be. We're seen as adults who should be able to hold more on our shoulders, who should be able to stand up for ourselves. And often that's not the case because, like I said, we are kids, black or white. It's just my experience, my peers' experience, and yeah.
What message do you have to those adults who adultify black youth?
The message I have is let kids be kids. Let kids go to school and focus only on learning, not on things that they shouldn't have to be worried about, like fear of being called a slur in class, fear of walking to their next class because of the students that they go to school with. It shouldn't be something that we have to worry about, but unfortunately it is. And I hope that people see that and really start to understand how important and this is.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Uh-oh.
Who is someone in your life that represents courage and empowers you to have courage daily?
Somebody in my life that represents courage. I'm gonna switch it up. Everybody's saying their mom. My mom, I love you, she's in the crowd. But I wanna say my older sister pushes me to have courage and represents courage because she stepped into spaces that I never expected she would, and nobody else did either. And she just constantly proves people wrong in the face of injustice, in the face of people who demean her. She's one of the smartest people I've met.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jatem.
Thank you.
Next, Daniela Musasimbili. Daniela Musasimbili is a Shado Park High School sophomore. She wrote a poem, Defining Yourself, and she will read an excerpt from her poem.
Courage is turning you can't into I can and I am. Courage is taking in all discouraging messages and turning them into courageous messages because you as a person define courage. The same way a basketball player makes the jersey number and the jersey number doesn't make him. Courage is letting people define you. It's not letting people define you, but it's you showing them the definition of yourself. It is all courage. You are courage. You define courage. I am courage. I live to prove, not to be proven by anyone. Thank you.
Yes. One of my favorite parts of the poem is where you say, the same way a basketball player makes their jersey number, and the number doesn't make him. Courage is not letting people define you, but it's you showing them your own definition of yourself.
So I wrote that piece based off an experience I had experienced at Shadow High School. Originally, I'm supposed to be a junior, but, well, I'm a sophomore. It was a fight, and that led me to that piece, because a basketball player doesn't make the number, is not defined by the number, but they make the number. Because I can say I am number 22, but I have to make myself number 22.
So, being confident in who you are first before all the other things make you who you are.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not done. You made us wait. Who is someone in your life, Daniela, that pours courage into you?
I feel like it's my mom, because we have come from far, and she has constantly shown people that you can tell me what to do, because I know what to do. I make the rules, you don't make the rules for me.
Yeah.
She has shown them that constantly, repeatedly, because where we're from, there is like a norm, a woman has to do this, a woman has to do that. And she was like, I am a woman, but I will run that business. I will run that restaurant. I will be who I am, and you can't change that.
Okay. Is your mom here tonight?
Yeah, she's right there in the crowd.
Here's Mom. Thank you, Daniela. How will you continue to define yourself on your journey?
Well, I will continue to define myself on my journey is by proving everyone wrong, because they'll look at me as that one child, that one African child. But I am not just that. You can't judge a book by its cover. You have to read the book to judge the book. And I am that book.
Okay. Okay, you can go now. Thank you. Good job, good job. Good job. Janae Weaver is a senior at Liberty High School. She wrote an essay called An Act to Say Yes, which talks about centering herself after always giving herself to everyone else. She is the first in her family to attend college, which, by the way, on her way here tonight, she got some really, really great news, literally in the car. I'll let her tell it. She wants to pursue a multifaceted path that blends love of writing, civic engagement, and the law. Without further ado, Janae is going to read a portion of her essay, An Act to Say Yes.
Saying no wasn't a big part of my upbringing. As I assumed the roles of mother, sister, and daughter, I was often made to say yes. Yes to grandmothers pinching the fat part of my arm, demanding more Pepsi. Yes to the racist and biased teachers. Yes to the angry aunties and the restless requests demanding pieces of my soul from cousins, siblings, and strangers. The connection of my blood tied me to my family and culture, but left my boundaries wounded, continuing a cycle of a wrong sense of generational love.
Talk about cycles.
Yeah.
Generational cycles. How does it take courage to break a cycle?
It takes a lot of courage, bravery, and determination to even think of becoming the first. And it's just something revolutionary to even think about, and takes hard acts and late nights to even become close to trying.
What do you see yourself doing as a cycle breaker in your life? And I think this is a good place to share what she found out on her way here, because she has prioritized her own goals and learned the importance of centering herself. You want to share?
Today in the car, I found out that I got into my top university today, a top 15 school in the nation, Hamilton College, with a full ride.
You talk about breaking a cycle and doing something, going against what seems like was your path. What do you want to do once you've broken the cycle? You've already broken the cycle, right? Yes. What are you going to do so that you create a new positive cycle? What do you see yourself doing for yourself, for others who maybe have felt like you have felt?
I want to put back into my community and to replace the hardships that I've experienced and possibly the negative interactions that have been put out towards me, to replace them with good, positive opportunities for other kids and just conversations to have more opportunities for students like us here today, and to just create something that will stand for generations. And it's just something that I see out here today that just impacts me and makes me want to fill out when I make my step into the world, to remember and carry everyone here today and everyone that I've read and studied about, even if it wasn't in the curriculum, outside of everything that was not told to me, but I had to reach out for myself to learn that, and to reach out and put that back is something that I just find to have a foundation of seeing more beautiful Black faces out there.
Thank you. Is there someone in your life that empowers you daily to have courage?
Yes, there's a lot of faces that come to mind, a lot of names, and mainly, I don't mean to be self-absorbed, but the face that looks back at me in the mirror is the one that encourages me the most.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations, too.
Thank you.
Anasu Wacha is a junior at Shadle Park High School. She is the president of the Black Student Union, and she wants to study pediatric surgery after high school when she goes to college. In Zimbabwe, she took Taekwondo and earned her way to green belt status. She currently wrestles on her high school team. Anasu did both a picture and she wrote. She's our last panelist, I guess, and she is going to talk about courage and the power to stand out.
Okay. Courage is defined as the ability to confront fear, pain, or adversity. For our ancestors, this courage was palpable during one of the darkest periods in our history, slavery. These individuals faced unimaginable horrors, yet many showcased remarkable fortitude in their fight for freedom. They whispered plans of escape in the dead of night, risking their lives with a slim chance at a life unshackled by chains. They displayed courage through their actions, igniting a spark that would soon grow into a flame, ultimately leading to emancipation. But the courage of our ancestors did not end with the fight for freedom. It continued to resonate through generations. Harriet Tubman, for example, not only escaped slavery herself, but also became a guiding light, returning to rescue others through the Underground Railroad. Her bravery exemplifies a relentless spirit to uplift others, to show up for our community, and to ensure that freedom was not just a privilege for a few, but a right for all.
Yes, thank you. History is like a bridge to our present and also a predictor of our future. And you talk a lot about the struggles of our past. Why is it so important not to erase our history? Why is it important to be reminded of the journey that those before us took?
Okay, so it's important in every way. So they actually fought for us, And that's the reason we are here and free and beautiful and happy. They remind me that, no matter how hard life is for you, it can never be as hard as what they went through. Some of them never had the chance to be free, and I'm really grateful for that.
So their example of the hardship is what we remember when we are here today.
Yes.
There's a saying that there's nothing new under the sun. What is a message that you can tell yourself, like a little phrase or a quote that can help keep you going daily as you become the current generation of what those before you were?
I keep telling myself to never give up because, life becomes heavy, but I just keep going.
Yes.
And they have laid such a strong example, I wouldn't want to disappoint.
Thank you. And who is someone or who in your life or where do you draw courage from?
Okay. I draw courage from every human being. It's a struggle to survive, and it's just good to see people survive. They are doing a hard thing, and people keep going. I'm proud of everyone.
Thank you. Good job. Onasu Wacha, Shadle Park High School. These students all bared a lot of vulnerability. They spoke some truth to us. They preached a word. And this is exactly why the Black Voices Symposium means so much to us, because from the mouths of babes, right? We will end this evening with Black Butterfly, a song about resilience. And Kyara Carter will do an interpretive dance for us with two others on the side representing the butterfly wings. That concludes our 4th annual Black Voices Symposium. I thank you all for coming out to hear our young people. I hope you continue to support the Black Lens newspaper, where I very much believe in giving youth a voice. If there is any way that you would like to contribute, there is a donation QR code to help fund projects like this, to help create a youth base for contributors so that they can use 21st century skills to go out and be researchers, reporters, and writers. And right now, expression is important. Understanding what's going on around them is super important. We heard from our young people who talked about community, who talked about representation, who talked about the people in their daily lives, in their families, and in their schools that empower and inspire them. Sometimes just showing up is a revolutionary act. And right now, with everything heavy and uncertain and often changing from day to day, let's all be powered by courage. Let's give our young people a round of applause as we bring them all back to the stage. All back to the stage. And this will be our time to do photos. Thank you again for coming to the 4th annual Black Voices Symposium.